Good morning. This is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and I'm happy to be here with you on a lovely Tuesday morning. And today we are going to be talking again about this Rhoda. It's a top-down short sleeve sweater, and it's by Irene Lynn. It's quite lovely. And I'm enjoying knitting this, but I thought we could go over three tips that you can use when you're picking up stitches for the shoulders on a top-down sweater. So here is my project so far, and I have started at the top with my long tail cast on and have worked my way down to the red yarn that you can see, and it's quite lovely. And then the pattern tells me to take these stitches, put it on a stitch holder or scrap yarn. And then I like to tie my scrap yarn so that it doesn't accidentally get caught on something and come off. And so we're going to continue on from there. So every week we have a giveaway. And for this last week, it was for some Cascade 220 in the heather gray. And the light gray was the color that got the most votes. And it's, if you haven't tried Cascade 220 before, it's a workhorse yarn. It's made of 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and it knits up just beautifully. And I've heard a lot of people talking about that lately. That's why I wanted to give that away as a prize. And then I thought for this week, what about some finito? And finito is a hand-painted yarn by Malabrigo. And it is a lovely merino, 100% merino yarn, and it's non-superwash. And I believe it is a sport weight yarn. I've used it many times. So you guys have to vote on which color you think you would like best. And one is blues and the other is the fall colorways.
Say red, maybe?
So orange or blue. And you guys tell me, and then this next week we can send it out in the mail to the lucky winner. So if you win, all you have to do is contact customer service at Alpaca Direct and give us your shipping address, and we can send it out in the mail to you. And the way you get entered to win is you post comments in the comment section. Let us know what you're working on. Any comments at all get you entered to win. I will give you a little hint that the more interesting the comment, the quicker it catches our eye. So it's an easy way to win and get to try some lovely products that we have.
Yeah, what things they like.
Yes, Jim said, you guys don't forget to tell us what projects you're working on. And if you are talking about a project, don't forget to name the name of the designer and the name of the pattern, because we can make it or use it in future Technique Tuesdays. So that's totally awesome. So I have been talking about this Rhoda sweater, which is a paid for pattern I found on Ravelry. It's by Irene Lynn, and she does a great job with her patterns. They're very clear. In the particular pattern that I'm knitting, it's line by line. It is not using a chart, but it's super easy to follow the directions. So if you're newer to garment knitting, this is a pattern that you can easily memorize. And you can see in here how lovely that looks. And I'm using Sueno, which is a blend of superwash merino with 20% bamboo. And that's by the Barocco, by Cassell. It's a lovely yarn. It has a nice ply to it, and I've used it many times. So let's take a look at some tips for picking up stitches on those shoulders and being successful with that. So I'm going to come around here, Jim, and we're going to take a look at some tips that make picking up stitches super, super easy when you're doing these projects. So if you look at the pattern that I was using, I have knit all the way the back, and we're getting ready to do shoulder shaping. So this is starting at the back, and then right here it tells you when you get done with that section to break the yarn and then pick up 12 stitches on this left shoulder. And you can see here on their pattern how easy it says pick up 12 for the left front, pick up 12 for the right front, and it says back with your right side facing, and I have my right side facing, so I'm ready to go. So if I was going to, I am picking up stitches for either side of my shoulders, and what I did is I counted 12 where the 12 stitches would be picked up, and you can see that I'm using, this is the size of needle that I'm knitting with, and this is the size that I'm using for picking up my stitches. It's much smaller. And what the advantage of doing it that way is that you can easily get underneath those stitches and pick them up, and then it just makes it so much easier. And by picking that in the pattern, it tells you with right side facing, pick up and knit the last 12 stitches from the cast on edge of the back. So these are your last 12 stitches from the cast on edge of the back. And so what I like to do is I take a locking stitch marker on either side. So when I'm picking up the stitches for the right shoulder, I will be starting with the stitch to the very right of this stitch. And so I've marked that same place on both sides of my work so that my pickup, so that my shoulder straps are not going to look off-centered or silly looking. So then when I'm picking up the stitches, I'm just picking up each bar as I go along, just like so. And if you look at these bars that I'm picking up, usually when you have a stitch on your needle, it is mounted with the right hand leg in front. If you look at the way this is mounted, the right hand leg is in back. So when I go ahead and start knitting with these, I'm going to make sure to knit the first row in